כולכם הכרתם את הקשר של מאיר למדיה חברתית, אך מתבקש שהנושא של הרצאת שלנו יהיה קשור לעניין הזה. And I'm glad to invite Professor מישל ג'קסון.
Thank you for having me here today. My name is Michelle Jackson. I want to start by thanking the people who made it possible for me to be here and those who invited me. I want to thank the president of the Institute, the CEO, the rest of the administration for making this possible. I want to give a special thanks to Mickey Ronan for having this idea and for making the agenda, and for my friends Dan Cohen and Orna Barnesh Kopolovich. For being such wonderful hosts since I've been here. I want to thank the students who I had the pleasure to work with this past 2 weeks, and some of whom are here. Welcome. I said they were definitely invited as my guests, so I'm glad that they accepted that invitation. And I also want to thank and welcome the students from my previous classes. I wasn't expecting to see you, and it's really wonderful to see you again from our time in Sweden. And I want to issue a special thanks to the family of Meyer. It's a great honor to be selected for this event and to speak not only in his memory, but then also, I think, in a way that celebrates, I think, what I have learned has been very important to him. So I hope I do him honor as well. This is where I'm from. This is the University of Colorado. Now, the week after I left, so it was just last week, we had about 5 inches of snow, so it looked a little bit different. But it looks like this right now. And it's of course, very beautiful. And what I've really enjoyed about my time here in this country is that I get to see all sorts of things that I wouldn't get to see in Colorado. So I've also enjoyed that. I am an associate professor of communication. Communication is a discipline that isn't present in all institutes or in all colleges, so let me tell you a little bit about that. Communication is not just the study of the transmission of information from one person to another, being clear and being thoughtful and being direct and so forth and eliminating noise. But communication is about much more than that. Communication is about the way that we live together. Communication is about who we are as social beings. Communication is how we make meaning with one another. Communication is how we support one another, the relationships that we're in. And that's going to be behind my talk tonight. I started, I didn't start out studying technology. I started studying processes of group interaction and collaboration when I started my studies, and also within organizations and organizational change. But a funny thing happened on the way. Now I have something I'm going to play here, and I want to know who not recognizes it, but who remembers it? So when I first started studying technology, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have TCP/IP. We had dial-up modems. Who remembers them? Did you use them? You did not use them. You are too young to use them. Wow. The official name of the sound. Okay, your instructor wants, so you better know what this is. I don't know. Don't tell Dan I don't know. Oh, the handshake. Yeah, of course. So when I first started studying, we didn't have TCP/IP. We didn't have email. The first class that I taught in communication and technology, I taught the students what email was and how to do it. I know, right? So, but then a strange thing happened. A strange thing happened along the way. And what happened was that people started using computers, which before we had used for storing information, we had used for calculation, we had used for, maybe organizing some things or doing some analysis. But the strange thing that happened was people started using computers to communicate with each other. This revolutionized my discipline. So I realized that if I wanted to study communication, it was impossible for me not to understand and study technology as well. So that's what I bring tonight. What I started looking for, and the question that I have, is what are the patterns that happened throughout those 20, 30 years where we saw the rise of communication and technology? That's the topic for today. So today I talk about social media, which is what we have heard, the term we have heard for maybe the past 3 or 4 years, not too long. What will be the next big thing? There are many people who make a good living doing this. They will suggest trends in technology or trends in economics or trends in business. Those are all great people to listen to, and I will add my voice to that and give you some trends to follow in communication, some things to look for in the way that we interact with one another. Okay, so it's about prediction, but you know, predictions are a funny thing. There are some famous mistakes in prediction. Here are a few of my favorites. One of my favorites was this one. The telephone has too many shortcomings to be seriously considered as a means of communication. The device is inherently of no use to us. Now, Western Union was a U.S. telegraph company, and we don't have telegraphs anymore. So, similarly, on the telephone, the chief engineer of the British Post Office, the Americans have need of the telephone, but we do not. We have enough messenger boys. Okay? Now, you know that in the United States, they're actually considering decreasing the number of days that the U.S. Postal Service delivers mail, down from 6 days to only 5 days. So my husband and I have a bet that by the time our children graduate from high school, the U.S. Postal Service will be out of business. I have 2 years. 2 years left. So we move from the telephone to the computer. Now this is not verified, but I had to put it here because it's such a great quote, right? When Thomas Watson says, I think there is market maybe for 5 computers. I hope his family put him in a nice assisted care facility after that. Or the president of Digital Equipment Corporation, which you might remember was one of the largest computing companies at its time, right, in the early to mid 1970s, there's no reason anyone would want a computer in their home. Okay? And these all made sense to these people. These are smart people, right? These are people who are at the top of what it is that they do. So, yeah, why are they making these mistakes? Here's a great one. They gotta kick themselves for this. Apple computer founder Steve Jobs tries to get Atari. You remember Atari? Yeah, I know. No, yes, I know. But we remember it fondly with nostalgia, right? And HP, Hewlett-Packard, interested in Woz's personal computer. So we went to Atari and we said, hey, we got this amazing thing, even built it with some of your parts, and what do you think about funding us? Oh, we'll give it to you. We just want to do it. Pay our salary, we'll come work for you. Atari said no. So they went to Hewlett-Packard. And they said, hey, we don't need you. You haven't gotten through college yet. Okay, now you know that Apple is currently one of the highest traded companies in the market. This is a great one. This is more recently. John Dvorak, who if you follow technology news and technology expertise, you recognize John Dvorak as one of the gurus. And he said this in 2007, okay, 2007. Anyone who thought early blogging and its offshoots were exercises in the banal, he's talking about like WordPress and stuff, should have a look at Twitter and its clones. They provide evidence that the public at large, or at least the nerds at large, have no life. Twitter is a network of Twitterers who do little more than post minute-by-minute accounts of their daily activities. I cannot understand why anyone would want to do this, or why anyone would want to read these posts. Now, this is a guy who's, like, this is what, 6 years ago? Okay. On the other hand, So we could say, oh, well, we wouldn't have made that mistake. I mean, please, right? But on the other hand, you know, there are an awful lot of technologies, new media applications, that have failed, right? Lots of fanfare. They were really important. Everybody really loved them, got lots of advertising. Ooh, this will be the next big thing. And they aren't, right? You might recognize some of the ones that are here. So let's look at some of the ones that didn't fail. And I want you to ask yourself, would you have predicted, given their origins, that these would have been successful? Here's one of the first screenshots from Facebook. Right? It's a college kid site. What, this is going to be something that my grandmother, no, this is even better. My great aunt, my aunt and my daughter, who hardly met each other, have connected on Facebook. Right? That's where, how do we get there? Okay? We would not have predicted it. Yahoo. Now we can talk about whether or not Yahoo's a success, but everybody knows Yahoo, right? Well, you know how Yahoo started? It was two guys in their garage, actually I think in their dorm room, that put together link lists that they liked on the internet. Okay? Who would have predicted? Google. I know. I love this about Google. Do you notice this right here? Ooh, 25 million pages. Ooh. YouTube. This is what YouTube looked like when it started. Huh. Yeah, really? Okay. This is, can you guess what it is? Yeah, homepage. I know. It's like, yeah, I know. No, okay. No one's going to guess it? Wikipedia. This is the start of Wikipedia. Look at this. Okay, you can hardly see this, but look at this. So, is a collaborative project to produce a complete encyclopedia from scratch. We started in January 2001 and already have over 6,000 articles. Okay, but who would you have guessed? It's like, who's going to use this page? This, I don't think you have Craigslist here, but do you have an online classified ad system? Yeah? Okay. So this is the online classified, it's not classified, the online ad. Actually, we don't use that term anymore. In papers, we used classified ads. Now we just say it's a place to get rid of your junk and have somebody else buy it, right? So this sort of site almost single-handedly killed newspapers because classified ads were the major source of advertising revenue for many traditional newspapers. And so sites like this, it's like, who would have guessed that something like that would be so important? And this is one of the first pages of Twitter. Yep. And you know, the thing I love about this is that it tells you, this is the answer that you should put in. It tells you how to use it. What do I put in this? You know, I mean, it's, okay? What are you doing? That's all you're supposed to do. Thinking about sending my little sister something. The weather report is saying 20 degrees. Are they nuts? This one, just got up. Thanks, just got up. Not in work yet. Okay? So this was the sort of thing that people were putting on Twitter. Like, really? And that became something that now is growing at a rate faster than other social media, including Facebook. Here are a couple that are even newer, 2009. Okay? So, and thanks to my students, I know that these are important here. Here, you know, this is just an information site, right? They're like, oh, isn't this a cool idea? Come and use it. Okay, it looks very different than their site does now. Would you have predicted that it was going to be successful? It's like, how is it going to take down Google Maps? Okay, but it's used more for different reasons. WhatsApp. Also, this is interesting. You may not know that first, the original uses a phone that, is RIM still in business anymore? This is, yeah, I know they are. But this started off as just an application that was going to tell your callers if you were available or not. That was its purpose. Okay, who would have guessed that it has become even more? Okay, so we're going to do a little experiment now. Does everybody here know about your system? No, I don't want you to tell them. I just want the, okay. So they've, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. So Mickey showed me a system that they've been developing here, and I think that it's a wonderful, since you're alumni, I think it's a wonderful opportunity for you to get to see one of these systems, and we're integrating it into my talk. And what I'm interested in knowing from you, so we've talked about technologies that have failed, we've talked about technologies that have succeeded, but what does that look like? Okay, what does that look like? So I have this question for you. So I have 10 technologies up here. Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, YouTube, Wikipedia, blogs, any blogs, Blogger, WordPress, doesn't matter. Email, any email. Skype or other chat, any other chat. No, but I mean text chat, not voice chat, okay, text chat. And SMS or MMS, okay? Now you'll need your cell phones or a computer that you can type something into. And you'll answer this question using a very nice application that has been developed here by the program. And I'll give you a minute to get to the site. And then once you get to the site, I'm going to go to the next page. It doesn't work on a BlackBerry? You can type in the... I don't know. Do you have a QR reader? It should. If you have a QR, you should just need a QR reader. Or you can type this in. Or you can SMS. Are you in? Who still needs to get in? Who still needs to get in? A couple people? Okay. Who still needs in? Everybody in? Is everybody in? Well, no, I don't want you to be finished. I just want you to be in. Because, see, what I can do is I can show you what you're answering. Isn't that cool? If you need me to go back, let me know. Go back. She needed to get in. Do you need to get in? She needs to get in. Are you ready? Who needs more time? Are you good? Good enough? So what we want to do is to see if we can identify patterns, right? Patterns in these uses. And what I'll be suggesting is one reason, one explanation for why we see very high numbers of users for SMS, for email, for Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, and lower for things like Twitter, for things like LinkedIn, okay? And what I'm going to suggest today is that the success of social media is not so much about the number of users, getting a lot of people to use something. It's easy to get a lot of people to use something, to sign up for something, and then they never actually use it. You may have accounts in any of these, but you might not necessarily use them very much. That instead, success is about changing behavior. Success is about getting people to both do something differently and then also to think about things differently. And successful social media applications are those that do that change behavior. And in particular, change social behavior, change our communication behavior. So what will be the next big thing in social media? Well, if I could answer that question for sure, I'd be living in one of those incredible new condos right over the beach. I would be there right away. But I think that this is a good question to ask. I think it's a good question to ask because it directs us to be analytic and strategic about the way that we look at social media. So, I want you to answer this question. What will be the next big thing? Keep your phones out. What will be the next big thing in social media? Now, the next big thing. So don't use Facebook or Twitter or Waze or, okay? Use one, if you have an idea for one that is only 1 to 3 years old, you're kind of interested in it, it's not big yet, but you think it'll be very interesting or very useful, okay? So you can just enter in your thoughts. You have some examples there. It might be something that you use, but your parents don't use yet, or your children always use something before you do, so that's. But your friends might not use it, or people you know in other cities might not use it. Okay? Now, you don't have to answer this one right away, but I want to make sure everybody's able to get the barcode. Do you have the code? You can be thinking about this throughout the presentation. We'll show the results later. We'll show the results later in the presentation. Are you ready? Have you got it? You can go? No? Yes? No? A couple more? Okay? Yeah? Okay. All right. So, the fact is that if you're going to suggest what you think the next big thing is, you've got a lot to choose from. This is one company's Luma Partners take in 2012 of what they think are all the social media applications that are out there. Okay? And there are, I didn't count this, but my guess there's probably a couple of hundred that are here. Right? Now, it's fair to say, I think, that we have a glut of social media. Many of these may well fail because of business reasons, a poor business plan, lack of funding, economic reasons, poor management. They could fail for any of those reasons. But I think a number of them will also fail because they're not strategic about how to be social. They're not strategic about the way that their application is to be used, not just used, but will be integrated into the social situation. In fact, if you look at this list, there's not a whole lot that tells you what social is, right? You've got social business software. Well, what does it mean to be social when you're talking about business software? You've got social TV. Well, what does that mean to be social with TV? You've got social commerce platforms, social brand engagement, social advertising, social marketing, social search, it's like you just put social in front of anything else and you're going to have a social media app, right? Now, I don't want to do that. I don't want to assume that just because it's possible for a number of people to use an application that it is social or that it is worth something to invest in. I don't want to treat social as magic. That's one of the points of my discipline of social science, is that we don't see social as magic, but instead we want to be strategic about it. Okay? In fact, Many of the most successful applications use very simple technology. Early email, packet switching, right? Very easy early email. Early web. Tim Berners-Lee, one of the reasons he couldn't sell the idea was because the technology was so simple that nobody outside of CERN would use it. Facebook, incredibly easy technology that capitalized on Ajax, a new program of the day, a new programming language of that day. Wikipedia, ordinary wiki. That wiki software exists right now. You can build something that looks exactly like Wikipedia. And Twitter. You know, actually, I don't know the technology for Twitter. SMS intersecting with web pages. But again, it's very simple technology. It's not a whole lot of flash, okay? So I'm going to give us a different starting point. I'm going to suggest a different starting place. That starting place has three elements. The first is that we're social beings, okay? We're not technology beings, okay? We're social beings. We know how to be with one another. We want to be with one another, to connect with one another, to coordinate with one another, to get to know one another, to love each other. Okay? We want to be social. We build things together, we work together, and we play together. Okay? Now, another assumption is that we don't like to be confused. Okay? When you walked in here, had you been in this room before? Okay, are you sitting anywhere near where you sat the last time you were in this room? Oh, it was a long time ago. A long time ago, yeah. But one of the things about living in our social world, being social beings, is that we can't reinvent everything all the time. We have to have some things that we just know how to do, okay? We have norms, we have conventions, we have ways of understanding the world, we have identities, we have culture, okay? We have certain things that we take for granted, and we try to reduce uncertainty. And the third assumption is that we create and use tools. Those tools don't have to be technological. Communication itself is a tool. What it is that helps us to be together. So given that, then in any technology, what I recommend first, my advice, is to look for the social potential. That all of the successful social apps value, even cherish, communication. They cherish or value connecting with others, sharing information, coordinating activities, solving problems. These are some examples. The Well was one of the first online communities. Very simple technology, but it paved the way for what today we know as online communities. Facebook, all about connection these days, and some advertising. LinkedIn, WordPress, Wikipedia, these are all about being social. They're not about the flash of the technology. So there are different types. We can look for the social behavior, but sometimes it's important, another element that's important that I suggest is to look not only at the behavior, but to recognize there are different types of behavior, and different levels of change, Some things we do without thinking, their habits or their routine. Some things we have to think about more carefully and choose to do. And those correspond to three different kinds of change. The first kind of change I call converting, okay? A technology or a social media application can seek to recreate an offline social behavior online. So we already do it offline, okay? We give a lecture, so this is being recorded. Hi. Nice to see you. Okay? My guess is that won't stay in the recorder, but it's going to be online. Okay? Well, unless they annotate it or draw silly pictures on my face, okay, it's going to be converting. We're simply going to recreate offline that which we recreate online, that's what we already do offline. Make sense? The second is augmenting. Now, we can convert, that's fine, and we can integrate that and so forth, but why would we do online instead of offline? Right? That's what the Twitter guy said, right? That's what the computer guy said. It's like, why would we do that? We already have a perfectly fine way of doing it. Well, we get people to change by adding value. Not just adding technology value or time value, we add social value. We allow us to accomplish things socially that we couldn't do before. We add new abilities, we overcome limits. Okay? So right now, if I wanted to, or if you wanted to, right? You wanted to check to make sure I really knew what I was talking about. And so, because you just heard about this and you're really here to see your friends and there happens to be a lecture there and maybe I should check around. So you look on your phone and you can go to my website at asset.colorado.edu/Jackson and you can see my CV and you can see what I've done, right? So now that's something to overcome a limit or add an ability that we didn't have before. Now you're still sitting here, it's still a lecture, right? We haven't really changed our understanding of it, but we've added the ability to do it, to do something new. The third is transform. Now, this is, unfortunately, what people think they want to do. But really, transformation is the hardest thing. Because you can build a gee-whiz technology, but if it's a social technology, people have to use it. They have to change in order to use it. And that's a lot of change. Because transforming means we have to let go of our assumptions. We have to reimagine what is normal or what is ordinary. Okay? So a big controversy on my campus right now is MOOCs. Have you heard of this? MOOCs. Makes faculty sound like cows, doesn't it? MOOCs. Massively open online classes. Tens of thousands of students, and I'm not exaggerating, tens of thousands of students sign up for them for free. No business model there. It's really unusual, right? Actually, the business model is the universities pay for it. Tens of thousands of students sign up for free. Everything is offered online. It's like it completely changes your idea of taking a class when you have 10,000 students taking it with you. All right, now, these don't happen in equal amounts. They happen in different amounts because we're social beings. We don't like to be confused, okay? And we already have tools that allow us to do things, so we'd have to change in order to use those new tools. So convert actually is much more likely to happen, okay? And that's behavior, that's change that's much more likely to happen to cause social change. Augment is a little bit less, and transform is actually very little, okay? So when we're designing social media, we need to think not only about the contexts or the type of behavior, but we need to be thinking about the level of change. And converting is probably easier because there's less change, and transforming is more likely to result in failure because there's a lot of change. So let me give you some examples of converting. Let's see what this looks like. So for example, email is very successful, right? Why? Because we already have in our head what mail looks like. Oh yeah, I get it. Okay, mail, right? Wikipedia, an online encyclopedia. Oh, okay, it's an encyclopedia. I get it. I know how to use it. That's also the controversy, right? Because we have expectations for encyclopedias, and Wikipedia doesn't always hold to them. Maps. I know how to use a map. No problem. Okay? Easy enough, then, to use online maps. Oh, yeah, I get it. TV. I know how to watch TV. Okay? So then it's easy enough to understand, to get what YouTube is supposed to be. Now, converting, as I was saying before, successful applications, really successful applications, don't stop with converting. They have to move to something else. They have to move to something more to add value. And that is augmentation. So, for example, Wikipedia allows, an encyclopedia might come out once every year, once every 2 years. Wikipedia, you can have a new encyclopedia article on it the day after. So, big news story back in my hometown, my home country, sorry, yesterday was the kidnapping of, 10-year kidnapping of 3 women, right? They are now, this is today's Wikipedia article on it, one day. So it augments. We can have information in encyclopedic form with encyclopedic rules very quickly. You can't see this very well, but this is a Google Map mashup following Hurricane Katrina. So people went in and they entered information for where people are, and you can see little dots, and this is used widely now in disaster relief. It augmented. It's still a map, but it augments it by putting personal information on the map, does something new. SMS. So I argue that SMS actually augments the telephone. SMS augments voice telephone. You want to call somebody, but you know that you had to get a hold of somebody, but you know they're in a meeting, so now you can SMS them, right? You can get in touch with people when before you couldn't, as an example. Lots of other ways that SMS augments voice. YouTube. Do you remember this one? He's biting me, he's biting me. Yeah. So how does YouTube augment television? By letting us be producers. Okay? My husband is addicted to The Guild. Do you know The Guild? Yeah? It's a web-based TV show, but the episodes are like 5 minutes long or something, right? My daughter is addicted to My Drunk Kitchen. No? Yeah, exactly, right? Okay? These are shows created specifically to be played on the web. Okay? Whereas before YouTube, we wouldn't be able to see them because there was no platform for them. So they've augmented our previous understandings. So my recommendation is that we have to protect the old to create the new. If you want to create the next big thing, don't go immediately to the new, but instead know what the old is and protect the old. If you consider change, so this is time, okay? And then this first dotted line is what we currently think of as normal, okay? What I call the old normal, or we could say it's the current normal. And this second dotted line is what I call the new normal. The old normal is converting, is what technologies that convert do. The new dotted line, the higher dotted line, is what technologies that transform do. Now, if you start a technology way up here with the new normal, what do we know? People don't like uncertainty. People won't have meaning. They won't, what are you talking about? Okay? Anybody here grandparents? 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 Do you use Skype to talk to your grandchildren? No, because they're close by, I bet, aren't they? Okay. So I have colleagues whose children are across the country, completely across the country. And so their grandchildren are there too. Well, my colleague, he's so cute. He's like 68, 69 years old, okay? He's like, my daughter says, wants me to use Skype, and I don't, right? But now, every day, you know, he uses Skype to talk to his grandkids, okay? Why could he talk to the grandkids? Because you started out, he was able to say, oh, it's like visiting them. It's like the old normal, as opposed to, what is this Skype thing? Okay? So this is an example of an implementation curve or a diffusion curve for a new social media, right? That you have the introduction where people are just feeling it out. What is it? Oh, there's no meaning to it? Well, effective social media will be able to settle comfortably right here, right? That is, it will be able to convert very easily, get a quick user base, okay? And will also, for the people who adopt it later, will still provide a way for them to understand what it is and how to use it. This then is augmenting. This is when we start to change our expectations of what should be possible. My son, who's a sophomore in, he's 16, he's a sophomore in high school. Beginning of school, we're going to go buy supplies. We need to buy you notebooks. Why do I need to buy notebooks? To take notes. Okay? I don't take notes. I just take a picture of the board. Go, poof, cha. Right? Never could I do that. Okay? So it's augmenting because he doesn't have to write it down. He just takes a picture. New abilities. Right? Now, as we start getting comfortable with this augmentation and our behavior starts changing, then we can see a transformation, okay? And what's funny is that the transformation actually is just normal, okay? Facebook now? Yeah, of course we have Facebook. Anybody here not have a Facebook account? Not have a Facebook account? See, and you don't even, oh God, right? Okay, why? Because it's the new normal. Now, I can tell you for certain that when I taught this class in 2005, And Facebook was only open to college students. You couldn't have gotten it. I could get it because I'm a professor, and the students could get it, but you had to be affiliated with the college. They were like, you know what they were like, oh, who would want to use this? This looks like it's just for partiers. Okay? But now we use it for all sorts of things. It is the new normal. So let's see what you guys said. Oh, no, I have one more. So I've talked about augment. I want to talk about transform. What does it mean to transform? How do you know you transformed? Remember I said that it's not about the number of people who use it. You can have converting and have a bunch of people use it. So what does it mean to transform? Here's one sign. When you change the language, like. What did like used to mean? You know, oh, I like you. You know, or, so you like him? Right? No, now it's an action. Like me. Right? Friend me. When did friend become a verb? Okay? Tweet me. Google it. Right? Okay? It has become the new normal. Let's see what, I think Amazon's another great example, right? I'm not going to buy anything without checking the Amazon reviews, right? Okay, so let's see what you guys said. Can we make this bigger? Is anyone going to make this bigger? No, not on here, just on the, oh, okay, all right. Huh? What are these? Okay. Can you guys read it? Do we have to make it bigger, or is it just my old eyes? Is it okay? Okay, so we have Instagram, WhatsApp, SMS hit. Okay, who's going for the? Yeah, you've already graduated. Okay. All right, so we got Google, Google Plus, Google Now. Let's just leave it. That's fine. Let's just leave it. Airbnb. Is that the, you can find out what B&Bs are available? Okay. Mobile social sharing. Mapmaron. What's that one? What's that one do? Oh, for sports. Who won? Okay, yeah. JoyTunes, I assume that's a music app? What's Django? Huh? Oh, okay, yeah, songs, that's right. Instagram, that's a neurosensors. Oh, there's somebody who wants to be implanted, right? Neurosensors. Waze, Vine. What's Vine? Ooh, yeah. Actually, I was telling, one of the examples I had for the class that I was teaching was I wouldn't be surprised if the whole idea of photographs goes away. Why are we taking, like, right? When it's just as easy to take video, right? That's what I think. Oh, wrong? Oh, says the photographer. All right, what's the bottom line? The bottom line of my talk is that successful social media gives us better ways to be ourselves. Here are some ideas. Make sure that if you go here, you spell it right, because if you don't spell it right, it's not a good site, okay? We like to meet new people. We like to have new experiences. We like to control our surprises. What I mean by that is we like to do new things, but we don't want to be trapped there. We want to be able to escape. Okay? You ever go to a party, and it's like, oh my gosh, I really want to leave. But you can't leave because you're already there. And so, right? You go to a class. You go to a lecture, like this one. Oh my God, when is she going to be done? I have to leave, right? Okay, we like to control like to have new experiences, but to control it and control our surprises. So Omegle, yeah, okay. So one of my children pronounces it Omegle, and the other one pronounces it Omegle. Omegle, Omagle. Tomato, tomato. When you log in and create an account, it connects you randomly to any of the other hundreds or thousands of people who are online. It's video. It can be text as well. Huh? So it connects them you can talk, you can do whatever, but if you don't like what they look like or what they say, or they're being raunchy, then you can click and go on to the next person. Okay? You get to meet lots of new people. For example, my daughter, when she was using this, told me a story of meeting somebody from one of the stands. Sorry, can't remember which one. And she didn't know what the country was like. She didn't know what living in Europe was like. So she got to talk to them for a while and learned a lot. Another new potential. We like to be spontaneous without worrying about it. Okay? In some ways, social media has taken away the safety of being spontaneous because anybody can catch you, and then it's on the internet like forever. So the new normal is that you have to be careful about the internet. Sorry, the new normal has become the old normal, right? So our normal is that you have to be careful about the internet. Now we have new technologies that send things, but then erase them and delete them forever, unless you take a screenshot, right? But you have to cheat the system. So you send this to a friend, it exists literally for only a certain number of seconds, however long you say. And after that, it deletes it. You can take a picture, you can draw on the picture, you can type on the picture, you can create whatever you want, and then it's gone. Okay? It's going to create a new normal, a way of creating a new normal. I think this one's going to be big if they can get around the privacy and regulatory issues, okay? Because we like to learn what's around us. That's why probably all of you have a phone, smartphone, that allows you to look things up. That's probably why you are addicted to GPS or to maps, online maps, right? We like to learn and know what is around us, and Google, I think, is taking great advantage of that. Now, if you'll permit me, and I forgive if this is, I hope that you'll forgive me if this is inappropriate, but I think that another new potential is that we like to know that we're never alone. And we like to know that we're never abandoned. And we like to let those that we love know that they are not alone and that they are not abandoned. And I think that this event, and that you being here, and that the lovely sentiments that were expressed earlier demonstrate that another thing social media can do is to make sure, as it did with Mayor, that we are never alone, that we are never abandoned. And I leave you with my recommendation: create the new normal.